Racism. Can we solve the problem? In this video, I will talk about my thoughts and ideas about it. Before we start this video, I want to do a little disclaimer, because in this video you will not be able to find any new or unknown facts or answers. In this video, there will be thoughts of me about the subject at hand. None of these ideas are meant to insult or be harmful to anyone, just random thoughts. In the background there will be some gameplay of City Skylines just to have some moving pictures along the way. It doesn't have much to do with the subject, but it's just so you can look at something when I speak. It's a video after all. So the reason I'm making this video is because recently I've noticed I don't meet a lot of people with who I can discuss my true thoughts. And therefore I figured to try something new for my channel and post it as a video. So the subject that I want to talk about is racism. And this on its own will be hard to do without stepping on anyone's toes, but I'm gonna try to do my best not to do that. So in order to talk about a subject, you will need to know the definition of what you're talking about. So I've pulled the definition of racism from the wiki. Racism is a belief or doctrine that inherent differences among the various human racial groups determine culture or individual achievement, usually involving the idea that one's race is superior and has the right to dominate the others, or that a particular racial group is inferior to the others. Now that is a mouthful. Anyways, besides the overly difficult way it's stated, I have a few problems with this definition, and I will go over them now. To start off, we have the first sentence. Racism is a belief or doctrine that inherent differences among the various human racial groups determine cultural or individual achievement. Now the thing I'm worried about is the various human racial groups. For this to be true, you have to divide the human race into multiple races. Now, somewhere in the 19th century, scientists actually backed the fact that humans can be divided into different races. However, nowadays, we can go scientifically deeper into the subject, and there's actually little evidence in genome research which indicates that a race can be defined in the genetic classifications of humans. Wow, that was a very difficult sentence. What I'm actually trying to say with this is that racism is a social construct and most definitely not a scientific one. So this actually means we can fall back in the biggest cliché in the world. There's only one race, the human race. Cliché or not, I think if we want to stop the phenomenon we call racism, we will actually have to stop seeing people as a different race. So a good way to try to start this is to turn things around and start to see ourselves as human instead of white or black or whatever race you previously stated yourself to be. We have absolutely no reason to put ourselves in a specific group other than the human group. Now if we would all do this, racism wouldn't be a thing, and that's only because we would finally be rid of the idea of a race. Realistic as I am though, I know this will not happen, but dreaming is allowed. So I want to get back to the definition once more, and then specifically the last bit. Racism ... usually involving the idea that one's race is superior and has the right to dominate others, or that a particular racial group is inferior to the others. So there are multiple ways of looking at this sentence. In the classical example, we can see a white person seeing a black person as inferior, or the other way around. But there's also a different side you can look at it, because it's also true that a white person then sees himself as superior, and a black person sees himself as inferior. And this is the point we have to realize: we are not. Neither of these are true. We have seen a lot of controversy around racism these days, and the thing I'm a little bit worried about is that the word itself is being overused, which in turn will actually desensitize us for the idea itself. For instance, when a white cop shoots a black person, it doesn't necessarily have to be racism, but we actually think that really fast and usually without hearing any of the actual facts. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and if it happens it has to be punished very hard, but I don't think it's always the case. If we keep using the racism word like we are doing right now, we will actually create the boy who cried wolf effect, like overusing a word or idea, and that can grow into a huge problem. We need the word racism for the actual horrors of racism, which are most definitely real. Now this is what I wanted to say about racism, but then I found a post on the Huffington Post website, which was talking about reverse racism. Now what they meant by this is that in Black History Month and such, white people were saying that they were not a part of that, and that was reverse racism, which is a ridiculous statement. The article itself, by the way, was published in August 2015, and I will link it in the description. Now, I agree with the fact that reverse racism is not a thing. The reason, however, is a bit different than the one they stated on the post. In this post they are actually stating that white is the default race. However, this in my opinion is already the wrong way of looking at this. And before you start flaming me in the comments, let me explain this thing. If you're saying a thing like this, you are putting the white race on a pedestal, which creates an inferior platform for the black race. This alone makes it impossible for a black person to be racist, because you have to be superior to the other. And this is why I think this is the completely wrong way of looking at this, because this does not get you in any way towards a solution. Now, they already got me disagreeing on the first part, and then they put out a statement which I still can't believe. They said, and I quote, "If reverse racism existed, it would actually be kinda great, because then, and get this, it would mean we lived in a society in which all racial groups have an equal amount of power." Well, I sort of agree with them because they strive to equality, but this is looking at it the wrong way. This, for me, is the same as saying because some people live on the streets, we should burn all our money and homes just for equality's sake. But that is not the solution, that is not the answer. We should be helping the people out there, educate if necessary, and get them on their feet. They have no need for us to be at the same level for them, they have need for them to be at the same level as us. And this can be brought back to racism as well. You don't have to break a white man's pedestal. You should cut it in half and create common grounds. And this is actually the perfect example of how you can turn things around to walk towards a solution. So I want to thank Huffington Post for giving me this perfect example actually. There are still a million of examples I can bring up and comment about, but it's a difficult subject to talk about without deeply insulting anyone. Even though I think my ideas are not toxic per se. The idea I want out there is be respectful and forget about race, from both sides. Do not feel superior and definitely do not feel inferior to anyone, because you are not. This self-awareness will actually create a common ground in which you can live alongside each other. Which is all we actually want, isn't it? I guess I'm going to keep it at this, and it's a real relief to get these thoughts out there and just to get them off my chest. Thank you for listening through all of this. I know it's a hard subject, but we have to get the discussion going to get it out of the world. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Do you agree or do you strongly disagree, and why? Feel free to reply anything, but please be respectful. The YouTube comments are toxic enough as it is already. Oh, and if you want me to give my thoughts on a specific subject, you can put it in the comments as well. Anyways, thank you all for listening and ciao.